Scholars, do you ever wake up and just say, fuck it, I don't care? Because that's how I feel. Like, I went to bed and obviously I didn't shower. And this is, if you want to know what like greasy hair looks like, I feel greasy and it's shimmering. I'm going to take a shower after this shit because I got a lot of work to do. And I've got to do some big review recording to do. I'm actually going to get into it. But I woke up, it's like almost like 12. It is 12 o'clock. It's 12 p.m. now. I slept in. I'm on vacation. This is vacation Monday. We'll see if I do anything proactive or anything, you know, or if I'm just lazy the entire week because it's been a long fucking first half of the year for me. Work has been a lot, but you're not here about work, right? You're not here to hear about, woe is me, my work is hard. You are here to get some news. Things are not looking good. You know, things aren't looking good for my hair, but shit isn't looking good for Bungie. That's nothing new, right? We've heard this, but what I found interesting is that Destiny 2 has dropped out of Steam's top 10 sellers just days before Renegades. Now, this is a couple days behind, but that's what happens when you just don't give a shit. Yeah, so when it comes to Steam, Destiny is actually, and you could argue the reason why it's always top sellers is because it's fucking free at base. The base, I think you get like a couple, you get obviously a couple of the free raids that are irrelevant now. You get the portal now, which is free. You get some of the campaigns like Shadowkeep and Beyond Lights, and that's kind of it, right? You don't get any dungeons for free. You don't really get anything else for free. You get Dares of Eternity. Like there's a couple spots of freebies. The biggest one I think is the portal, right? That Bungie has geared the portal to just be free for fucking everyone. And so when you have that as your highlight of free, I can see why it was even anything free is going to have something, a spot in top seller. So I always find this very disingenuous when we're talking about top selling. They're not really selling. You don't really buy it. You just add it to your profile, to your Steam account. It's not really selling. Anyways, Destiny 2 has dropped out of the Steam's, which even if that's not true, this still looks even worse, by the way, just so we can clear the people who are naysayers like, that's not what that means. It looks worse now. All right, Destiny 2 has dropped out of Steam's top 10 global sellers just days before the Renegades expansion as player interest sinks to record lows. Destiny 2 is about to launch its second expansion, yet no one's really excited for Renegades, except for the couple content creators and their communities. The Year of Prophecy with the Renegades on December 2nd, a full Star Wars crossover that should, in theory, bring a lot of eyes back to the game. The expansion, God, wouldn't it be funny if it just had a bunch of game-breaking bugs? God, the karma. I'm gonna have a very high prediction. I think it's gonna be one of the unbuggiest releases we have. I know that's very spicy and very counterproductive, but they know if they were intelligent, if there was if higher ups, even the developers were any form of intelligence was found in that HQ, it would center on the fact that they know that more people will look at this because it's Star Wars. It's Star Wars. Let's not even say it's inspired. It's fucking Star Wars. More people are going to look at this. And if this tanks, not only is it going to tank their reputation for future collabs, because people are going to be like, okay, they had Star Wars and they done fucked it up. But people who would have maybe gave this an eye would be like, no, I'm good. So in my theory, my tinfoil theory is that this is going to be a very clean launch. I know I'm going against the grain. I'm taking a very devil's advocate, very spicy take, even though Bungie has done nothing to prove that they're competent or capable. The only thing that would make me think that they would do it is Sony having their fists straight up Bungie's ass, which we know with a negative $204 million in the bank, Sony is watching them like a hawk. So we'll see if this theory was correct, this game theory. Bringing a lot of eyes back to the game. The expansion brings players back to Mars with heavy Star Wars themes all around. including blasters, lightsabers, which are called Praxic Blades, and Destiny 2 syndicates, and much more. It follows the edge of fate and arrives at a tough year for the series, one that has been filled with community frustration and record lower player numbers. Don't forget the negative $204 million in the bank. They have not made any fucking money. If there were any other year, Destiny 2 would normally be climbing Steam charts right now. Previous expansions often sat inside the top, which is funny. Just so we have some big pictures here. Edge of Fate pre-orders, that's including like the deluxe editions that come with Renegades, was down 50% from the final shade. So the sales already were lower than what's normal, right? They were already significantly low. And so you add that into the equation, the fact pre-orders are already low, and now you have the fact that it's dropped, the sales are low. And then we're going to look at Paul Tassie's article, which he's looking at possible player count, which doesn't look good either. Edge of Fates, yeah. Previous expansions often sat inside the top 10 or top 20 sellers during the same pre-launch window. Even Edge of Fate, which reportedly had nearly 50% fewer pre-orders, okay, there it is, and struggled to hit 100,000 players on day one. Yeah, it was bad. It's probably one of the worst day one launches we've ever had. Still managed a strong presence on Steam before release. The older expansions were even stronger, with some reaching the top 5 sellers list in the same time frame. Destiny 2 Fallout of Steam's top 10 ahead of Renegades. Yeah, okay. Right now, the picture is not encouraging. With about 11 days to go before Renegades, Destiny 2 has dropped out of Steam's top 100 global sellers at the time of writing. The game is sitting around 154th on the store. For a live service shooter that was once lived near the top of every sell and player chart, that is a brutal picture, especially the fact that it was fucking free to play. So no one's wanting to even touch the free to play shit. That's the sad thing. It's a free to play and no one wants to touch this shit. We compiled some numbers. By the way, if you want a perfect representation of what the portal did to Destiny, here it is right for you. Guys, we're gonna make Edge of Fate into something new, something fresh. We're gonna make Destiny 2 into Destiny 3, but not actually make Destiny 3. And we're gonna murder all and every interest that we have so that it falls so far below no one knows that Destiny fucking exists. This is the lowest pre-launch ranking the series has ever seen on Steam. The gap is huge. Every expansion since Beyond Light comfortably sat in the top 30 sellers. In that second to last pre-launch week, Renegades is more than 100 spots behind. By the way, this is huge. People who've already pre-ordered had pre-ordered. That means no one else is touching this shit. Like, if it's 50% low, that means anyone who got like the Ultimate Edition and whatnot, that means anyone else who's just getting Renegades is very low. Like 154, that's bad, dude. That's bad. Like, Renegades is looking like hot garbage at launch with the player numbers. We'll see. We'll see what Paul Tassi is doing some brainstorming. Let's see what he has on the brain. Well, yes, the player interest around Destiny 2 has dropped significantly this year, but there is one other factor at play here that has contributed to the lower Steam seller numbers. A lot of players who plan to jump into Renegades already bought it months ago through the Year of Prophecy bundle, yes, which includes both the Edge of Fate and Renegades. Therefore, anyone who has already purchased it doesn't need to buy the expansion again. That naturally pushes down Destiny 2's position on Steam, which, by the way, again, if pre-orders are 50% below and people who bought the bundle edition, because Final Shape also had the bundle edition, right? It had the full year. So if sales have gone lower than normal, then that tells you everything you need to know. The natural push, yeah, it's still hard to ignore the overall sentiment around the game. Destiny 2 is sitting at the lowest player number in history, lower than the period during Curse of Cyrus when Bungie admitted that it was weeks away from shutting down. Destiny 2 has bounced back from lower points before, but the road ahead looks a lot tougher than this time. With Renegades only days away, a lot of players are waiting to see if this expansion can genuinely pull the game out of its decline. I don't think it can. I don't think because here's the reality. Star Wars is great, but this isn't Star Wars. Star Wars is not going to save the entire franchise. It might put some interest back in people, But when people realize that this is not all Destiny, is just an expansion that's going to be left behind, just like Dark Matter and all the other shit, the weapons will stay, but everything else, like, they're not going to continue cranking out more and more Star Wars themed expansions. So that's you're going to see a drop off. I'm going to say, I think there's going to be, you're going to see for the first couple of weeks, and it's going to immediately drop down until the dungeon. And then after that, it's going to drop again, because people are going to realize that once this is over, we go back to the portal, and that is the killing point of the game. So I do not at all believe that this is going to save the game. Like, Bungie needs to do, like, I'm talking about big plays that they haven't even announced, that they need to pop this, like, this is what we're doing to save the game. So far, they have not revealed anything that is turning the ship around or getting the Titanic from sinking. Right now, I just think it's going to be we've got buckets and we're scooping out some water and throwing it out to keep us, somewhat afloat, but it really isn't changing the bottom dollar. And that's right, I have to go because they don't like ad blockers. So here we go. We got estimating Destiny 2 Renegades upcoming peak player count. White Flashbane, by the way. Destiny 2 is about to launch this is from Paul Tassi. Destiny is about to launch its upcoming Star Wars licensed Renegades expansion under 2 weeks on December 2nd. Promotion has begun to spin up with the new trailers and blog posts, but we appear to be heading toward an unfortunate and inevitable end. Wait, was that right? Reality, sorry, I almost said end. Wow, that was a Floridian slip. I believe there's a little chance that this new expansion tops the already low concurrent player counts Destiny 2, First Post Light and Darkness Saga. I hate the fucking white flashbang, like, Jesus Christ. The Edge of Fate and those numbers were already a third of the previous ones. The final shape. The problem here is that the quality of the expansion effectively does not matter in the current state of Destiny 2 in terms of changing this reality. I recently visited Bungie to play Renegades, and I will say absolutely nothing about whether it's good or bad here until embargo. NDA, you can't say shit. But the point is that the circumstances at present are not going to allow for a true hit here either way. I believe this would happen with or without Star Wars branding, which some view as a positive and others as a negative. We are about to see the problem with the new era of Destiny 2, where content has been slimmed down to the point where there are now 6-month gap, a little to no content. Yes, they're using events, which is just a skin of the portal, as a way to try to get people to play. Like, I think Bungie thinks that people are so fucking stupid that all they have to do is put a skin and call it an event, and all you do is the same shit you've been doing for how many months? And all they do is add new weapons. Guys, new weapons? That's it. That's all you want, right? New weapons? You don't want anything else. No new activities, nothing else? Yeah, Bungie thinks you're that fucking retarded. Which, luckily, 90%, actually, it's like 95% of the population is left. You're going to find out Bungie's the stupid one. After day one of the Edge of Fate, there was no new story content to log in for. There have been perilously few days that have felt necessary to log in for outside of that. A raid launch, an exotic mission, and its mid-season update Ash and Iron, which promptly made many lingering Jesus Christ, lingering players log out, sprinkle in a few holiday events, and that's really it. Yes, that's it. The math is not in Bungie's favor. Using the numbers we have available through Steam, there's no indication the console trend line are any different. By the way, it's not. We have actual platform evidence that console is about roughly the same. Now, if you put all the consoles together, yes, they're going to be more than PC. But individually, they're about the same. Don't let anyone gaslight you and say, Destiny was only mostly a console game. We have evidence and we have graphs to show that no, it's not true. Like, GTFO, suck some Bungie dong somewhere else. The month before the final shape launch, when the game was still producing seasons, the game peaked at 116K. The expansion launched with 314K. The month before the Edge of Fate, 38K, and they did nothing to improve that, by the way. Rights of the Nine was the worst free event, Into the Light style event we ever had, because not even I'm gonna be honest. They should have made it to where they did Into the Light. Into the Light transformed into the final shape where you were able to enhance it. Like that was the big change from final shape, was that guns became enhanceable, that you were able to enhance any gun. And that's what they did backwards compatibility with Into the Light. They didn't do that with Rights of the Nine. Rights of the Nine, they said, fuck it. You know what? When they should have made it backwards compatible where it converted into the tier system, and they should have been like tier 4, tier 5s, and be like, here's your first taste of the tier system, right? Here you go. You get these guns, have some juice. Now they're already replaced and pointless. Like there's not a single Rights of the Nine gun that you need or should keep. I mean, they weren't even good in general. Like Into the Light had some banger perk combinations. Rights of the Nine has nothing really exciting. So it's crazy that Bungie released an event that was already made fucking pointless. But that's the trend with events for Bungie this whole year, is release shit that is absolutely pointless. Now the month before Renegades, so 108K, when the game is no longer producing episodes or seasons. Yeah, by the way, they're not making seasons. If you want to call for the 3 activities a season, sure, pop off. The reclaim missions were the only thing that was seasonal. Everything else was just same old bullshit. They did nothing new. We no longer have seasons. We're going to drop more old shit in that should have been, part of the base release. Or we're going to call it a season. With expansions doing a little less than triple than previous month, we're talking about 65K-ish. If we're being generous with potential positive reviews or an extra boost from Star Wars, that could be 80K if I had to guess. I'd love to be wrong, but I would be surprised. Players citing stats like the fact that Trial of Cyrus at times has 3 total 3-player team matchmaking at any given time, or the fact that Destiny 2 has dropped out of the top 100. Yep. Taking time, the picture is slim. The problem is Destiny 2 now faces, with the current system, it's difficult to imagine how mild improvements to this 6-month gap or a specific small expansion can turn this around. I don't know if every expansion will decline from here, but this is the path we're on, and it's a tough one. I think that, again, I do not think that Bungie is going to turn the ship around with mild changes. This pussyfooting around stuff is not going to work. I do not believe for an instant at all that this is going to change anything. Let's see what people are saying about Paul. What about the fact that a large number of people bought the annual pass Year of Prophecy? Logic would suggest Renegades should retain most of those who played Edge of Fate with less attrition since it's a sunk cost. The big indicator for Bungie will be trailing sales after launch. Maybe, but 100% retention is just not going to happen. No. I think people don't realize that a lot of people after playing Edge of Fate or started playing Edge of Fate got a refund or tried to get a refund. And you also got to remember that all of fucking Russia can no longer play. Yeah, an entire fucking country can no longer play. They got refunds from Steam. That's why I said less attrition than usual, but it's a sunken cost. I think of D2 revenue model as a one big annual release split into 2 expansions 5 months apart. So Renegades is a second entry point with discounts. If it is a success, we'll see if it'll return next year. We'll see. Bro, already Steam charting before it's even out. That's crazy. Gamer up. If this is the path Bungie's getting into, I feel Sony is not going to be happy. Every quarter report saying the same thing. The value of Bungie is costing us 200 more, and repeat it next quarter and next quarter. I feel something's going to happen, dissolving Bungie, closing the studio if Marathon fails. I don't really know. I don't know. But an asset, I think he meant assets, losing money every quarter is something I really doubt Sony is going to keep. Unless they shrink Bungie to like 400 employees, we have to remember Bungie is in the most expensive area of US for game development. I don't know what they are cooking with that roadmap for D2, but it will be irrelevant and Bungie can literally recover itself and keep losing it. I think he meant can't recover itself and keep losing money. The dream some people have, like Paul Tassi saying, why Sony doesn't let Bungie 6 years in the dark making D3, that's impossible. it isn't going to happen. If Bungie is losing money right now with Destiny 2 in the state it is, imagine going dark for 6 more years without supporting Destiny 2, and imagine a marathon fails expectations, which it will. This is a deep hole I really don't know if Bungie will be able to get out. It's sad, but Bungie dug their own hole, and nobody knows if long-term or even short-term after marathon release, they will be able to recover. Get out of the negative hole and being a successful studio again. That's a fucking mouthful. But true, like they're so in deep that I don't know if they can get out. And it's all their fault. I have no empathy for Bungie. It's all their fault. The multiple failed projects, the years of ignoring your player base, sucking the dick of content creators and treating them like they're your best friends, while, you know, not listening to your main player base. Sorry, you get what you get. I really don't like how we emphasize that there's no longer seasons without mentioning that players were sick and tired of seasons. So many of the pivots were exactly what players asked for. No, sweetheart. You are being intellectually dishonest. People were not tired of seasons. People were tired of how seasons were done. It was the same old model. People wanted a shake up to the model. The people said they didn't say they didn't want seasons to go away. They said they want seasons to change. There's a difference from moving seasons completely and changing it. I would argue that there was misinterpretation what players were asking. The fundamental structure of seasons were never changed or evolved much from what they were when Undying came out. Exactly. I heard and saw more people wanting something different than that. Nothing at all. Exactly. You have people that want to suck the dick of Bungie and try to like, well, this is what the players wanted. Bitch, you're just as fucking deaf as Bungie is. I have hopes that Renegades will be better than Edge of Fate and we'll get more players back. I think there's a difference getting players back versus retaining them. I don't think this is going to retain players in the way that Bungie needs. I think you will see it will be better than Edge of Fate. I think anything will be better than Edge of Fate. But the problem is, I don't think in the long, like the campaign itself will not hold everyone. Like the in-game activity for Edge of Fate has to pop the fuck off, because if it doesn't, it's going to be right back to Edge of Fate. Like Renegades is going to just be another Edge of Fate because the portal is not going to sustain people. It's just not. If this bombs like expected, you got to wonder if they scrap future plans and just kind of put the game to rest. It's a Sony thing, man. It's what Sony wants to do. Maybe it depends on how much development of the next annual release. I suspect this is why they haven't given a roadmap like they promised. I do too. I think that's a fair assessment. The reason they haven't given a roadmap is because it's depending on Marathon, which is supposed to come out in March. There's so much shit going on. It was never going to do big numbers, but it's insane to me that they've waited 2 weeks before launch to spin up promotion of Star Wars based expansion. True. I'm going to use that for a future video. This comment is based. Usually they would be throwing out they would have 3 different live streams, dev live streams. They would be spamming constant shit on the interwebs. All you see from Bungie now is this shit where they take the dev stream and they make a couple second videos and they post it on Twitter, and that's their promotion. It's like, hey, this is the same shit we've already seen, but we're, instead of doing new stuff or hyping up other shit, we're just gonna do this bare basic little shit. Star Wars, that they really are hoping that Star Wars is enough to keep people fucking interested, aren't they? My bet is 100K again. The drought is making people thirsty. Can't wait for them to close all this garbage. Garbage. It's garbage and carnage. 100K for 2 days, then back to 10K a week after. The spring will be so slow, like 2K. I think that people don't realize that the biggest issue was the drought, the seasonal drought. That is going to cause people to go away. I don't think it's going to change. I don't think this goes any higher than 70K. Dude, there's a lot of bets. I feel like we should do a bet. Is there like a bet website where we bet how high Renegades gets at launch? Like, put your bets down below in the comment section. How many players do you think are going to be for the launch And well, you could do Steam, and then you could do like console numbers too, like all together. You like 300K all together, 200K, 100K, like if we're being generous and saying consoles like 300K, if it's like 100K, I don't know. I'm gonna stick to Steam and say I think about the same as Renegades, maybe, or not Renegades, Edge of Fate, maybe a little bit more, maybe 125K. I'm betting 125K. That's what I'm going for. I'm betting. If you're right about these numbers, Sony will take full control in 2026. We'll see. We'll see. Gonna be honest, I'm expecting Renegades to have a similar launch to Edge of Fate, but I think it'll be do a better job at maintaining players early on. New expansion, the activity, dungeon, and the dawning should hold people over. I don't even know. If the dawning is fucking cookies and doing the portal, people just won't give a shit. I want to be excited, but I also worried that I'll waste my time playing through the expansion with them. Just announced the end of D2 due to the continuous player. Damn, what that? Doubt me as you will. Okay, will arrive on December 2nd, starting from current estimated peak of concurrent players around 15K, well below. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty fucking bad. Let me know what you think down below. The links to the 2 articles will be there for you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, don't forget